Welcome to Brobench videos. In this video, we're going to go through saved queries feature in Brobench query module. Brobench has one of the best query editor and then query results viewer for Salesforce. So if you work with Salesforce and you query data, give Brobench a try. You can create one or more query editors, and then content of the editor is auto saved. So the next time you open it up, the contents are right there. So you can write any number of queries and then you can go recall them and execute them. As you can see, I have saved a ton of queries over the period. However, if you run a particular query quite often, it may be useful to save it under a particular name so that you can easily recall it instead of looking for it in this whole big query editor. So that's where the saved queries will come into the picture. Saved queries will be shown on the left side of this query editor called the saved query tree control, and then you can expand and collapse that tree control using this particular icon. So if you click on it, so it is collapsed, you can't open it, but if you click on it again, it'll open it up, and then after that you can adjust it whatever the size is. Okay. So there are multiple ways to create a script. The easiest one is that, let's say you authored a script and you want to save this particular script. So you can, let's say you want to select this particular script, you can right click on save new query, new saved queries, and then it will come up here, this particular dialog. So let's walk through various elements in this particular dialog. So we have a name, so that's the name that you can give to the query, and then we have a folder. So the folder is which folder the queries need to be shown in this particular tree control, and the folder supports separating the multiple folder segments using a slash icon, similar to how we have shown here. In this case, the root folder is a custom, then within that you have a slash account profile. So if you click on this control, it shows all the existing folders. You can select one of them, or then you can modify them as well. Let's say account, the new folder within that, for example. You can mark this particular script as a favorite, and if it is favorite, it will show up in an under favorites list. We'll walk you through that. Give a description. Let's give a description here. For example, let's say select 10 accounts. Okay, so you can enter the query, or you can change the query that you have selected, SOQL or a SOQL query. Either of them will work. You can also have a couple of options here. So you can say include deleted or archived records. So if you're querying, if you want to include all the deleted records when querying the data, you can check this option. Or you can also choose this use tooling API. So if you enable this option, then the app will always use tooling API to run this particular query. By default, it actually looks at the object and then determines if the object needs to be run using a standard REST API or a tooling API based on the category of the object. You can go look at the objects module to see how a particular object is categorized. But we use some heuristics to calculate or categorize that object. But if you do categorize it wrong, then we want to come here and override it. Okay, so if you use this, then it will always use tooling API to run this particular query. Okay. Once you specify all of these details, go ahead and save it, and then it should be saved under this particular here account profile, accounts, new folder. This is the one that we just created, and then it is here. So once the query is saved, you can search for it. For example, let's say I have selected as a select 10 accounts, so it is showing this. Okay. Or you can edit that. So I can click on this control next to it, click on edit, and then it will bring up the same thing. So let's go and change to make it select 20 records, not 20, select 10. Let's go and save it. So it is updated. To execute this particular query, so you just have to double click it. So it will run this particular query. Okay. So when you double click it, if you want to delete that particular query, of course, you can go here and then you can select delete. Then it will be deleted after confirmation, of course. Okay. So you can also make the script as a favorite. You can add, say, remove from, it's already favorite, so it is showing remove from favorites. But let's say go and remove it. Then after that, you may be able to. Okay, so I think you have to refresh to do that. But you can do the changes from here. You can say favorite or a not favorite. Once the query is made as favorite, then it will be shown in this particular control. Okay, so with the folder where it is and the name of the script, so we show up to I think 15 or 20 favorites. So if you favorite more than that, it may not show up in this particular control. Okay, if you remove from favorite, of course it will go away from here. So you can specify a different order how the entries need to be favorite using this favorite order. So the 0 being the highest, and then any higher number being the lowest, and then the earlier. You can select a favorite, and then it will run as well. For example, like this. So in this case, it's just selecting the ID. You can also use variables within this particular queries. For example, let's go and create a query. Select accounts by IDs. Okay, so let's enter a query that actually uses query variables. Okay, let's go and save this. Select account. Okay, select account by IDs. So when you execute, it's gonna pop up and say, hey, you have this particular query contains a variable, you have to enter the values. So in this case, I said select account ID from based on the variables. So I entered set of variables and execute. So it will run that particular query. So the next time you run again, it's gonna pop up the same thing. And because it's the same object and it is cached the values for this, so you can just go and execute again. Okay. Yeah, so this is pretty much about the query saved queries feature in query module. Thank you.